So with the winter event finally at its end, the top reward vehicles are now seeing their way over to the player marketplace. And to those who spent the upwards of 50 USD for Golden Eagles, I'm sorry to say you may have wasted that, given that the Vilkas can be bought for under 20 Gaijin coin. But welcome back to yet another talking head video, but this one is geared more towards those who had decided to not partake in the winter event by either doing the challenges naturally in their respective game modes or by just outright not doing it in the hopes of buying said vehicles once they release to the marketplace, which they just did, at least from the time that you're watching this video, the previous day. And also, this might be my final making the purchase video I make for the series. They don't do terribly well on the channel, and I don't know if I want to go ahead and continue them. If you'd like to maybe see them still, let me know down in the comment section and I'll consider it for sure. But with all that being said, let's discuss whether or not you should at this given time buy the Vilkas, or perhaps save your monies and use it towards, say, the Mississippi or even the French Mirage. But please keep in mind, I'm not going to go too deep into detail for when it comes to the French Mirage as well as the vessel itself. Although I will throw in my opinions again on whether or not you should instead pick those up over this one, but you might want to hang out for the rest of the video. So a quick overview about the Vilkas as it currently stands. Yes, I know I have been pronouncing it incorrectly over the last couple of weeks. I do apologize for that, guys. Again, native English speaker. I just can't pronounce this that well, but if you want a more in-depth overview of this vehicle, what it truly is, I will have a card right up here that will take you right over to the dedicated video for this particular vehicle. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get content for either the Mirage or the Mississippi as part of their own dedicated videos. It's just not my areas of expertise, unfortunately. But to give you a quick run through of what this vehicle is, it's a battle rating 10.3, quote-unquote light tank. It's basically an infantry fighting vehicle. It has a 25mm cannon, same one almost, I believe, found as on the Bradley, same penetration values, and you get two sets of the Spike ER missiles. Which one? The LR, excuse me, it's the LR2M2. Sorry, there's so many different variants at this point, just yes, but you get 4 of them, which means that you get 4 fire and forget missiles that aren't the absolute best, but they do have their moments. But one thing, of course, is what a lot of creators are forgetting to add into it is that it does sit in a very wonderful lineup that is the German 10.3. And right now, 10.3 is, in my opinion, the new high tier or the new top tier because it plays a lot better. You don't have to deal with CAS too much, helicopters, etc., while still having that quote-unquote top tier experience. Although it is saturated with premiums, it's better than top tier at the time being. But back onto the Vilkas itself, and not to get too sidetracked here, when it comes to the overall efficiency of the vehicle itself, as you would expect with any German-based wheeled vehicle, this thing is incredibly responsive. It handles very well. Its armor isn't exactly what you would expect. Seeing that the turret is mostly unoccupied by the crew, this thing is a monster in a hold-down position, which makes it a very difficult vehicle to destroy, and seeing that you have the ability to use your commander sight to utilize the weapon system, such as the cannon, of course, as well as the missiles themselves, you can use this thing in a turret down position and engage targets at significant distances, although they have to be outside of about 200-ish meters for that missile to actually do its job. And speaking about doing its job, I want to go ahead and talk about the actual missiles themselves. I believe, to my knowledge, these are I think these might be the only ones of this variant that we have right now, unless the Freccia actually has it. I'm actually double checking that as I say that, so give me a quick second. So we have the MR, and then we have the LR2. So it's a different variant for the most part. It is a tandem warhead that guides up to 20 kilometers. 20 clicks out. That's a hell of a distance, although it only has a 35-second missile guide time, which is usually enough to get you to engage almost any single target at significant distances, although I would not advise using this against helicopters beyond 5 kilometers because 1, they might see it, 2, the missile might not work, and 3, you just wasted one of your 4 missiles on a helicopter you probably won't hit. Now, moving forward a little bit more when it comes to the overall performance of the missile itself, 700 millimeters in a tandem warhead munition. It's not the best. I mean, it'll get the job done. ERA is not going to be too much of an issue for the most part, but the way the RNG functions with how fire and frigate missiles are in the game right now, meaning that if you throw the missile out, it's going to aim at a predetermined point the moment it launches, such as the front area of the vehicle, the engine deck, hell, it can even hit the track for the most part. I've had this thing hit the left side of the Abrams cheek and do absolutely nothing to it. Although this is a good bouncing factor in my opinion. But when it comes to the automatic cannon, the 30 millimeter, that's where things get a little bit more interesting in my opinion. It's not anything spectacular, right? The Sabo itself isn't outright great, but it does work well enough against breaches, barrels, tracks, engine decks, pretty much everywhere you would engage a tank in any other circumstance. This thing can do moderately well for the most part. As you see in some of the footage, I was able to destroy even T-72s, assuming I played against them correctly, which is another subject I'll get into a little bit later in the video itself. But the Sabos themselves are just, they're okay. You know, they'll do the job for the most part, but don't expect anything too crazy about it. Although I would recommend, and I gotta take my own recommendation too, carry some of the high explosive incendiary shells because you also have an optical tracking for the gunner sight, which means you can lock on to fixed-wing aircraft, helicopters, etc., and engage them, although the dart isn't the best choice for that. Try to carry at least 1 magazine of the Mark 266. Might actually benefit you a little bit. Trust me, I'm taking my own advice here too. But moving back just a little bit to talk about how you should utilize this vehicle in the current environment. In truth, there's no sure way to do it. This is a light tank after all. You're not the best at everything, nor are you at the absolute worst. This thing can fight MBTs. It can definitely fight against other light tanks without any sort of issue. Although you do have to keep in mind you are a very tall vehicle. But you are fast, you have decent firepower, your missiles can and will work at the best and the worst possible times, and RNG has a lot to play with that as well. But overall, you are, again, a light tank. Play this thing as a support. If you notice 10 other players playing the same damn thing, it might be best for you to use a different vehicle for the time being and bring this out at the best possible moments, which would be when you need to, again, support your team, if I haven't already put an emphasis on that. I will admit though, using this thing against enemy MBTs is incredibly satisfying when it works. Sure, it's not the best, but it is incredibly satisfying nonetheless. Painful as hell. Wait, hold, did we just one-tap him with a... Now, to my collectors out there, those who are like myself, they don't exactly see the true values of the vehicle in how they perform, but more so in how well they look in your lineups. Yes, I know, there's a lot of people, myself included, who just collect the vehicles for the sake of having them as opposed to actually utilizing them. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be using this thing at certain points, but it's going to look incredibly shiny in my hangar for the pretty foreseeable future. And that's where this part comes in, whether or not you should buy it. Now, again, this is going to be all based off my own personal experiences and opinions, so please take it with a grain of salt. And if you agree or otherwise disagree, let me know in the comment sections. I will heart it as I see it, I promise. Okay, so should you get this thing from a collector's standpoint? Yes, always. I mean, why not? For the low price of 20 Gaijin coin? Yeah. I mean, you essentially have a top tier vehicle, quote unquote, with Gen 2 or Gen 3 thermal sights, good mobility, plays in high tier for 20 bucks. Yeah, sure, you got to spay the damn thing, but it's not outright terrible. Those missiles come stock. I wouldn't see why not. But if you're looking for a vehicle that is overall efficient in your lineup, I wouldn't really think so. Sure, it fills up a spot, which is very nice. And yes, it has its moments where it does function very well, but you kind of have to know what you're doing. You have to know all the weaknesses of the other vehicles, etc. Meaning that if you're new, it's probably not going to suit you. But if you're someone who's experienced, kind of a given for the most part, it will treat you well if you treat it right. But to those who don't, it's going to be a poor experience. Trust me, I would know. But going further into my own opinion on whether or not you should buy it, if it were above 25 Gaijin coin, I would say no. I mean, if it gets there, which I'm sure it will at some point, no. It just wouldn't be worth it. But at the current rates, yeah. I mean, for both a collector's piece as well as an efficiency for your lineup piece. I'm not even kidding. It's worthwhile in that sense. Anything above that, not so much. But what about the rest? Now, as of the time that you are watching this video, the USS Mississippi does go for a little over 36 Gaijin coin, and the Mirage goes for about 23, almost 24 Gaijin coin, which is a good price for what you're getting, in my opinion, though. And I'm saying this kind of loosely, but not really. The Mississippi might be the best possible choice. Thing's good. It has good firepower. It has good armor. It's just, I don't do naval much, right? But it handles incredibly well for someone like myself who is not experienced there in the slightest, but it's still a lot of fun. But when it comes to the Mirage itself, I can't really tell you. I mean, sure, it might be good in aviation. Sure, it might be good in ground RB, but in truth, I'm just not the right person for it. So I would recommend others such as, I think Devin would probably be the best possible person to look at for aviation. If you want to do the streams, Copsy's another good one when he does stream, as well as a couple of others to which we'll get mentioning in future videos. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys for when it comes to whether or not you should make this purchase. And you know, my collectors, I'm looking at you guys. It's worthwhile. Yeah, but let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. Was this a fun event? Is this a worthwhile vehicle? Did you avoid the Vilkas? Let me know what you guys think. Seriously, I want to know your guys' opinion, as it does a couple of things. One, I get to know what you guys think, and second, it does help me out with the algorithm tremendously. But if you happen to have enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and possibly even subscribe to the channel. Yes, I'm trying to reach 100K because I'm getting that plaque this year. It's gonna happen, but I can't do it without your help. But still, with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this talking head. I will see you not only in the next video or even the streams. You know what? You know the rest. See you next time.